Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live transmission. I have a very, very, very dear friend of mine today joining us, and his name is Rami Baz, Dr. Rami Baz. Rami and I, we have shared so many adventures together in many places around the world. And from all of those experiences, what I can say is that the level of integrity, the level of wisdom, of professionalism, of intelligence, and mainly a big heart is definitely within him. He's one of the persons that I know, as for now, that embodies all those qualities in a completion that takes us to have an idea what the new earth is going to look like, because that's the type of beings that we want to have in this new earth. So, having said this, it's not the first time that you're here with me, Rami, yet. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. It's such a pleasure to be again with you on this platform and everywhere. Every time we meet, something amazing unfolds.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for having me here, and I'm so excited for what's gonna be unfolding in the near future out of this wonderful work that you have been doing for a while with the wonderful, amazing being that you're connected with. Uh, and it's always a joy to be with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Likewise. So, having said this as this beautiful, loving introduction, let's dive into it. What are we going to talk about today? Well, it's a very useful topic that all of us can relate to. And this is about asking the right questions. You know, sometimes we are very much immersed in knowing everything or trying to know everything. Yet, not only is that impossible from a state of awareness and sustainably speaking all the time, yet also, and also it would be very boring, you know, knowing all the answers to everything. So you don't, then here comes a key, which is knowing to how to ask the right questions, because sometimes we can even be triggered because we're not receiving the right response, but or the right outcome, but it's because we're just not seeing or perceiving things appropriately and in coherence to what we want to manifest. So this title inspired me because actually Rami uploaded a very good reel about asking the right questions, and it was focusing on kids. So want to tell us a little bit about that, Rami?
Yes. So we start from the experience that you just mentioned is the relation with kids from my background in pediatrics and integrative medicine. I've learned a lot from kids. I've learned from them to ask more questions and ask questions more consciously, which leads us to the closest possible to what we can say is like the right question in this moment. So by being curious to know and asking such question, we can get closer, the closest possible to the truth. And because the question can come from a very limited experience that we have from a survival mode, compulsively, out of fear, guilt, judgment, resentment, as they can come from another space of love, gratitude, on a path of union that bring us together, that allow us to see things that we never thought we were able to see. And here comes like the amazing omnivision key that you have downloaded and is here on the screen. It's always remind us that no matter how flexible we are, the more questions we ask consciously, the closest we can get to the truth.
Yes, I agree. And, like now here comes a very interesting part, at least for me, which is what is the truth? Because then that can be very, very relative, like reaching this, approaching to this from a quantum physics standing point, we will say that it depends where the observer is, the type of reality that he will be receiving as a feedback from the very same experience that he or she is having. So, and there are all these theories of relativism and, like this light humanity where everything is so relative that they don't care. Like if someone gets killed, it's like, well, it was his own decision or her own decision. And then the others, how can you be so lack of empathy? And here comes like a very, very interesting point of view. Well, actually, how are we going to unfold this? Because I think that the closer that we reach, that we get to source, the more detached that we become about absolute truths, because the
Absolutely.
truth is always evolving. So right now
Absolutely.
you can hold the flag of a truth, and later on in 2 months you will say another story, or contrary to that, and people will
Yeah.
look at you and, hey, but you were just saying that. It's like you need to be married with your truth, and this is where what has kept us in such an old systemical reality where all these institutions can't let go of the indoctrinations that they deliver to us, the doctrines,
Mm.
because then they will be changing their perception of reality, and
Mm.
that is forbidden, right? So what would
Absolutely.
you say about that? How do you approach to that in your own reality?
Hmm. Definitely. Going back is like that type of reality, which is kind of control. It's based on fear and all the tools that comes with limited structures, limited belief system, coming from a space of judgment, right or wrong. We have experienced it and we saw the consequences. As many of us has experienced as well, coming from the heart and asking the questions to know, not to get to a point that we already have in our mind that we're looking for, just to prove that what we know is the truth. Because we have known it's like, it's, as you said, it's all relative and it's unfolding and it's expanding Uh, and the more we know, the more we realize that we don't know. However, the more flexibility we have, the more union we experience and freedom we experience in creating a new reality out of what we already knew, out of the boxes that we have lived in, and that what you mentioned as a systematic indoctrination. So here, it won't be present when we come from the heart, from unity, from joy, gratitude. It would be more of real curiosity to know what we can co-create together, not to make things confirm what I believe in or lead me to the place that I think I should go to. And as we walk, the path unfolds amazingly and keep on surprising us. So where I got right now, it's like I would have never thought I could be there. Had I been stayed with what I consider bad as the truth or a truth, my truth, I wouldn't have moved much. I would have stayed limited. And I would have limited in my experience anything that exists in my experience, including human being I'm dealing with. And here it comes to what I'm now trying, the message that I'm trying to send to people is let's not try to limit our kids with any belief system that we have, and belief system not talking religious, any belief system of what's possible, what's not possible, what they can do or can do, what's good or bad, right or wrong. Let's ask questions to see how they can surprise us. And when we see something that is not really resonating, that's not really in harmony, not to judge it, be more curious and ask, be conscious and ask more questions. Because by asking those questions, we are creating the, the reality, our future.
Hmm.
So we have a choice to create it from a space of love, consciously, space of unity, realizing that we are all connected and we are influencing each other, or from a space of survival that can lead to all the suffering that we have been seeing for a long time and limitations that we are dealing with, especially with kids.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. And you mentioned a few things like, for instance, curiosity. For me, that's critical. You know, when we're talking about how you are going to ask the right questions, I think of the observer. The observer is the one that it's curious, you know, it's changing from position here and there to actually be capable. That's the omnivision, be capable of seeing an event from all the perspectives, not just framing himself or herself in one perception. So we were taught, this is how I feel, we were taught that the more fixated that we would be into a specific perception, the more secure, the more powerful, the more stable that we would be, because moving from one perception to another would deliver insecurity, confusion, doubt, and so forth. And I think
Mm,
that curiosity is very different from doubt.
mm,
Curiosity is led from confidence. As you are
mm,
confident, you know that you can approach and ask and perceive in different ways without compromising your position.
mm,
Whereas doubting and asking, like as you were saying from the very beginning, you know, if you ask from a space of love, from a space of a power, then that's the feedback that you will receive. But if you're asking out of questioning yourself and, you know, doubting, or even from guilt, or even from whatever low frequency emotion comes through, it's
mm.
not good nor bad. It's just an experience. The thing is,
Absolutely.
the type of feedback that you will be receiving. So for me here, the key is awareness. from where are you asking from, so that
Yeah.
at that moment then you are very much aware and knowledgeable of where you are standing at, so that then okay, so then now I need to move here or I choose to move there to get the full spectrum of that which I am creating or that which we are co-creating. So now
Yes.
let's move into something deeper that
Mm.
gets things spicy, which
Yes.
is how, because we have been talking about perhaps a relationship with the universe, or you mentioned the kids. So moving through the kids, all type of relationships, it can be such a trigger for the other person
Yeah.
if you don't ask the right questions.
Absolutely.
How would you explain this?
Okay. So, not asking what we consider as not the right question, a question that's coming from a listening that's already there,
Yes.
uh, is coming from, it doesn't need to be that intense survival mode, that judgment that's really showing clearly out there. However, those questions will be coming from that space, from the low emotional frequencies. Uh, so if we don't ask them, we would be eventually repeating the same old. We'll be projecting our experience again and again out through whoever is coming our way. And the kids are very receptive. And we know within the first 7 years of their life, they are kind of like uh, just like a sponge and absorbing everything, and they are building their subconscious mind and the belief system and the identities. So it's very delicate during this period when we feel triggered, instead of going down into judgment, resentment, fear, whatever, and sometimes we ask questions, but many times most people they don't ask questions, they give order of and judgment as of how things should be. So, and even if we ask questions from that point, it would sound on the other side as it is judgment, and would have resistance and the experience of disconnection and dissonance. And that creates a lot of symptoms and what we call later on as diseases, not only in the physical body, it's in the physical body, mental, spiritual, social, at all levels in all fields of our life. So coming to that space of, okay, I have considered everything that I have from all the perspective in my experience. Yet right now I bring my energy to a higher state and a space of out of acceptance of love. And then I ask my question, curiosity to know, what is this trigger here to teach me? What is the message from this trigger at any level, whether it's physical, mental, social, at any level? It's the same dynamic. And here, only here, we can drop the barriers that we have created around us to protect ourselves and live the connectedness that's already there. Realize that we are connected and we are mirroring each other, and here we can create something completely new. Here, our creativity opens up. As the creativity of the mirror in front of us will be opening up, and be surprised, mind blown with what can come out of this.
Yes, yes. And I have a few questions. I hope there are the right ones. So, but before heading there, it's like, uh, I know, when we're talking about right, or it's not about like framing them, as positive or negative. It's more of that type of statement that will actually lead you to what you truly want to find out, and not what you think you need to
Yeah,
find out, yet what you, according to your divine soul mission, what is that through your resonance, your soul, your spirit is guiding you to receive. because this is another way of defining what you were saying. When you come from a space of survival, then you might be asking kind of questions that won't lead you to higher truths.
Yeah,
Why?
would be
Because
more limiting
exactly.
instead of an experience and question that are liberating. So it's like, and there
Yeah.
is nothing wrong here. Let's make it clear from the beginning. Even that experience that's limiting, there is nothing wrong with it. It's part of our experience that taught us something. We have
Yes.
learned from it the bad way or the hard way, if we want to say it. So now it's like we can choose to shift to another space and learn differently, not
Yes.
through suffering, through judgment, separation.
Yes. Yes. Like, for instance, as I was saying, it's like sometimes, even if you feel the energy, let's go through frequency, because we were
Yeah,
talking about kids, and kids express themselves and receive a lot through frequency. You can tell them,
yeah.
yes, but if the frequency is not the right one, they will feel like, hey,
Oh, absolutely.
are you angry? Or the other way around. So every time that we are having a discussion, and then that discussion is evolving, or it could be evolving into a quarrel,
Mm,
it's like, energetically wise, it's like you're any longer looking for answers. You're just looking for your own answers to finish the feedback, and that feels like bam, 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 instead of a dance flowing. And I'm not saying it's easy, because
no.
sometimes even the other party will be like bam, 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 and then you will be like zoom, like Neo in the Matrix. you know
Yep.
okay, I'm sitting literally, like it's, there you
Yeah.
go. But and even that is a mastery, because sometimes there is so many things taking place in our reality that going through that becomes complicated, at least at that moment. So then we go in this mode, like boom, boom,
Yeah.
and then at some point throwing
State of
some
five.
that. Yeah, exactly. So
And that's
this
what we're seeing at a larger scale with all the fights that are happening and wars that are happening out there. It's
exactly,
a larger scale. It's like definitely.
exactly. And this leads to my question: can truth be compromised?
Hmm. Uh, a truth can be hidden. We can consider it as compromised if we are away from it, if we are spinning the other way, if we are spinning into limited experiences, limited belief system. However, every time we would be uh, liberating ourselves from any belief system, any trigger, because the trigger comes to show us what belief system is still there feeding on our energies. Otherwise, it wouldn't have moved our emotions, so we wouldn't have reacted. Okay, so on this path, the truth is not compromised. So it's like we'd be seeing with more clarity. Every time we peel a layer, we see with more clarity because we are, as long as we're still living this experience, we're still triggered. However, we can choose to be triggered and drop down into low frequencies and get into the old way of control and fear and fighting. It's like it would be in our nervous system. We know it. We would be in a fight or flight mode. That's the sympathetic nervous system that would be active. Or we can be dealing with it after considering every memory that is already there, whatever our subconscious mind, our logics are telling us, we thank them and we would be just present here to see what can unfold and how many veils can drop so we can see with more clarity. So these questions can help us to get closer and closer to the source, to the truth, whatever we want to call it, seeing with more clarity, being more receptive, being experiencing more that connectedness at all levels.
Yes, while you were talking, I it came to me, source cannot be compromised,
No.
you know? And sometimes we can forget that because here is the deal. For me, one point, like fundamental point to be attentive about would be our connection with source, you
Yeah.
know, keeping the coherent connection to source, because then we're not defending an idea. We don't need to defend it. We don't need to convince anyone. And I think that a lot of people get lost in convincing people about
Mm,
their perception. And I
mm,
think that's an unconscious way of trying to reinforce within themselves that information so that they feel safe within that concept or within that egregor, you know?
yeah.
And it's like, for instance, you see all these people defending doctrines that they don't even know what they are about. They were
Yeah.
just educated to follow that very same stream. And when
Yeah.
you ask them deep questions about, and what do you think about this? What do you think about that? In the beginning, they will be like, dan, da, dan, da, dan, repeating, you
Repeating the same. It's like
know?
you have a tape that's repeating the same old stories and not answering. We can see it with politicians. They wouldn't be answering the question that you're asking. They would be repeating the same story. It's like, and you see it everywhere. If it's coming from a survival mode, from low frequency, uh, yeah, definitely, it is time, and it is with the rise of energy that we're living, experiencing these days. It's an opportunity for us really to move faster in liberating ourselves from any belief system. So, physically, mentally, spiritually, personal or collective. That makes a huge difference. And as you said, when we are in that mode, the old way would be like living our life horizontally. And to live it horizontally, there needs to be a logic to navigate through it. And that logic comes from the structure that has created it. And actually, when we use that logic, we think that we are interpreting the reality, but actually, no, we are reinforcing, recreating the same old from our belief system. We keep it
Yeah.
alive there. So every time we put a logic and a judgment, we're losing it. However, the other way around is, instead of forcing things through the matter here, space and time, and fighting with the friction, loss of energy, entropy, every now and then, just when a question rises, just connecting vertically up to the source, and see how the question can unfold differently, and how the reality can be uh, much more joyful and liberating for everybody in this experience. Triggers can't be there, and however, they won't be affecting us the same. So instead of trying to solve things with the logic that we have, that has created the reality that we are dealing with, just with one breath, reconnecting, and the question changes completely. And we would get an opportunity to create a new reality and experience something new. Doesn't mean that this is better than that. No, it's like it just evolve and expand our experience. We will be expanding our receptivity. It's like with every quantum leap that we will be making, increasing our receptivity and the capacity of emitting information.
Yes.
And here we start uh, to experience other dimensions with more perception. It's like it's time for us to just start practicing connecting at other levels. We already have it. It's like through our experiences, and so many people live it. Yet, going back to the old logic would be like here we would be getting away from the truth and the source. Here it can occur as it is compromising the truth, but no, it will be compromising ourselves and our experience. And this life that is manifesting this way here would be limiting it by
Yeah.
just trying to interpret a huge experience, something that is limitless, trying to put it in a limited box of logic and a belief system, no matter what belief system it is.
Yes, while you were saying this, I was thinking about so many things. One, for instance, um, how deep is the impact that is generated when we choose out of sovereignty instead of out of attachment? And by
Mm,
use of this is, for instance, if you are not moving from a reality because you don't think that it's better for you to settle for that, then because you don't want to compromise what you have reached so far, then it's a form of perception that it's not branching through any other reality that you're creating. For instance, it's like if your reality, what you're experiencing right now, would be ceased, completely ceased, instead of
mm,
branching out into whatever you will create. And that's when
mm,
you think that you owe your accomplishments to others
yeah,
or to a specific events. If it hadn't
mm.
been for this, if hadn't, it's
There's
different.
something outside of us.
Exactly. It's different than gratitude because gratitude is as acknowledging that due to everything involved and everyone involved, that was possible. Yet you have a very specific encoding that will come with you wherever you are at. And even the exchange of codes that happened with those ones that were with you at that moment will also come with you because
Yeah,
you are never the same after exchanging codes with someone.
yeah,
You are always evolving, we are always evolving. So that's one thing, that's what can actually could keep you um, in the acknowledgement that wherever you go, whatever you will experience will be from your space of power.
mm,
Your power is not correspondent to even your actions. And that's a very tricky one because sometimes we find our place of safety through our accomplishments. Oh, I did this, I did that, which is beautiful.
mm,
Yet, when we're moving into a deeper connection with ourselves, we remember that we are not an action, we are everything. And an
yeah,
action is just a fragment of the wholeness that we are capable to create. We were just showing to ourselves one flavor of what we are capable of doing.
yeah,
And the universe is so vast that the more that we show ourselves the different flavors that we can create, then that is omnivision, that is being capable to see through the whole spectrum, the observer coming in through every space and stepping into every coordinate in order to
mhm,
see its whole creation or its creation as a whole. That's
yeah,
one thing. And the other thing that I would go to talk about as an example and to listen what you have to say about it is when you were talking about the politicians and that there is no like no matter what you ask, it's like they will always answer the same thing. I was tapping into the Arabian Nights, the novel,
mm,
and the story of Sherazad,
mm,
and how she was introduced to a king so that she would marry him. But the thing is that the king, after being betrayed by his first wife, he started getting married over and over again and killing over and over again all
mm,
its wives so that he wouldn't be betrayed again.
Yeah.
And when Sherazad came to the scene, she asked to get married with the king, knowing what could happen. And the thing is that she was so intelligent that and curious, and she wanted to challenge herself. So then she started seeing how she could call it manipulate, call it bend the energy of the king so that he wouldn't kill her.
Mm,
So she did it. Every night, by the time that the king was going to kill her, she would tell a story that would keep the king captive and wanting to know more. So
and
he
holding.
inspired the curiosity in him. So if
Yeah.
we now trade those figures for other type of analogies in our reality, let's say that the survival mode would be that which wants to kill.
Mm,
Yet we are the creators of the story, that we are keeping that curiosity in any form of instinct that we have, so that through that curiosity, that survival instinct or any low frequency keeps curious about knowing more about ourselves. So then it's not any longer one-sided question. Okay, what am I asking to the universe or to myself? It's
mm,
what are the different versions of myself asking to one
yeah.
another, and what are the type of responses keeping the attraction, keeping the magnetism alive.
Yes. Yes. Very nice example that you have given here. And this brings us to one principle is the presence, being present.
Mhm.
When we are present, is we can see the attachment that are there that has created this reality that have brought those triggers in our way at any level triggers. It applies to all our experience. So once we see that, then we can allow ourselves to see it from the other way around. But in order to see it from another, from the opposite side, we can't do it while we're still attached to what has created it. And here you mentioned attachment. So we need to detach, pull our energy out of it, allow ourselves to see it from a different perspective here, and which is the other version of myself speaking to this version from of myself. And here we can create a new reality. We won't be fighting to keep one reality or one sequence, one pattern, because it's all about this reality is all about information fed with energy, expressed, collapsing into this dimension, and we're keeping it within a frame of time. So it stay manifesting the way it is. The moment we remove any of those component, this reality collapses, and then this energy is free, and we can use it to create any new reality. So, and this is the beauty of this dance of life that we are dancing. So we can be free to dance it whichever way with no attachment and enjoy it, co-create it, live here as a co-creator, or live here as a piece of creation, fighting, suffering, and victim of circumstances. So those questions, right questions, can help us move beyond our attachments and our limitations into that wonderful other dimension and realm of manifestation.
Yeah, now I was thinking about how specific questions can actually, well, it's all about shaping our reality. It's
Mm,
like the observer taking all that plasma field of information that comes into questions and using, oh, if I ask this will lead to that. Okay, so
mhm,
let's fire up that question, and then let's see how it shapes into our reality. Ooh, another one. Because then again, that version of ourselves, and as I was saying, it's like when we are capable, again, this is how I feel it. Um, if we're capable to listen to all the voices that exist within and what each one of them has to say, regardless of the level of question it is, even if it's the most immature or the most nonsensical, but it also needs to express itself,
Mm,
and I have
absolutely.
experienced this, like, as soon as you don't put them, okay, which one are you going to choose, whether this or that, yet you say, okay, you guys, so you want to express yourselves. I would normally go for this answer because I know where that's heading to, yet I also choose to listen to you. So let's say, how are we going to weave these questions so that both sides feel completed and listened and valued? And for me, those ones are the ones that take to higher truths. Because what are higher truths if not the capability of grounding all the information, light, dark, positive, negative, into the highest outcome, right? I mean, so for instance, you were giving that example of the kids, like, instead of asking, would you say it, because I just loved it. So would you be so kind of sharing it with the beautiful tribe, you know
Yeah.
because there are a lot of parents here, or beings that have a lot of interaction with kids, and I we all think that they are the fundamental pillars for the new earth. So
Yeah. It's like this came from judging the behaviors of kids. So when we have a behavior that we're facing a behavior of a kids or anybody else, but it's mainly with the kids and they're very vulnerable. So instead of judging and trying to stop that behavior, ask what that kid is trying to communicate with us through that behavior. Here being a listening for that kid with that curiosity, not looking at the surface with the information that we have that this behavior means this or that, because we already know that people with different experiences would interpret different behaviors in different ways. Like if someone in North America or in Europe sees an Italian or two Italians or two Lebanese talking to each other, they would think they are fighting each other. So it's like this how any interpretation can be completely different from a side or another. And same thing applies to our kids. So and it applies as well to the symptoms that they are showing physically as well. It's like, okay, we show a cough or a fever or jumping, the instinct here, and we've learned to jump into suppressing these symptoms. It's like if you look at the medicine, the conventional medicine, Western medicine, is everything is a state of is in a state of fight, is in a state of control. So you look at the medicine that are used, they are antidepressant, antipyretic, antalgic. So everything is against something. So here, let's come to a space where we are pro something, pro life, pro health. And we cannot be pro health and life unless we really ask those questions and listen to what this being is expressing to us. And especially that the kids, in their experience, they are trying to express a limitless experience because they are still learning what this body means and how I can use it. Limitless experience with a limited mind and super limited language. Already as an adult, we have a super limited language. So the kids are even more. So instead of trying to control them and fix them and move them in a way or another, let's see what they have to tell us from their experience, how they are experience this physical body. Instead of looking, it's like, oh, at an inability of or a problem, they are And I love how in certain countries they use different words to explain differently able. So they are able in a different way. Let's focus on their ability and take it to another level rather than looking at a limitation and judge it and try to fix it. So, and this applies to any symptom at any level, any behavior at any level. Uh, and Today I had a conversation with a relative of mine, and she's a mother. She was telling me, I was thinking that, and she spoke with someone we know uh, who ran and created program for schools. Parenting is the only thing that people are not taught how to be parents. If someone wants to go uh, serve coffee at a coffee shop, they give them a training, they teach them. And parenting is not taught anywhere. So, yeah, it's interesting. And I agreed with that. However, a bit later came to me, it's not about learning parenting, it's about learning how to be in this experience of being a parent. It's about being conscious, present, and then the whole dynamic, we would learn what we need to learn instead of trying to control and fix and make it happen what the trend is.
Yeah, that's so deep because uh, even the archetype of like the maternal and paternal archetype are so polluted. It's
Mm,
like finding your own way through presence, as you were saying,
mm,
without the expectations of what being a good parent is or not. Because
yeah,
also, every kid is unique. Every
it's
kid
true.
has different requirements. So it's more about it's your relationship with the kid, and you being receptive enough to know what the kid is transmitting through his or her actions, words, bestly in best scenario words, because you were also touching upon something huge, which is normally we're like, okay, I'm giving you the answer, and the kid goes like, but wait, I didn't ask you to to tell me
Exactly.
how to frame my experience. I was just playing here, and all of a sudden you come with this box with these labels telling me who am I, what I did, where I'm coming from, and where I'm heading to. Is
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm here at white canvas. Let me be, I'm exploring myself. And yet it's so tricky because that's the way that we were educated, because
Oh,
then we're stepping up into the adult role, into the grown up position, that, okay, like the more that I guide my child, the more parenting that I'm becoming, the more the better mother that I am, because that's what a maternal role is,
mhm,
feeling, making your kid feel safe, that you have the answers that he's or she's seeking for. And this is so entangled, and but in a polluted way, with all type of belief systems, because being there for your kid, giving your kid that safety, is not about knowing all the answers, is about presence,
yeah.
and that's something which you just said, and which is beautiful to experience, because then again, later on, people like complain a lot that the kids are not expressive enough. They are not expressing their emotions, they're going in
Absolutely.
shutdown mode. Why?
We have suppressed their expression in many ways because before they start expressing themselves. It's like the first way of expressing themselves is crying. They still, it's like when they cry, okay, being present and conscious of a good observer, we can tell where this what's the source of this cry is very important, and here we start to learn instead of jumping automatically to holding them and trying to calm them thinking that there's something wrong. No, let's listen and observe and see that dynamic, because that's where everything starts to be built. So this is the first pattern. We give it a meaning, and then we start building on it. And with time, they start expressing in completely different way. And I saw this in with kids that are labeled as autistic. I got
Mm-hmm.
once a kid who was like considered as extreme case, and followed in as a multidisciplinary teamwork, and the parents were complaining that main thing is like he's not communicating with them. They feel that he understands many times what they want, but he's not communicating. And then came to me directly, and this was at the beginning when I started working on myself and exploring things differently. So I asked them, I got you. How about that we are not learning his language? So we want him to learn our language. What if we are not learning his language and we're not listening to his language? And at the moment, the kid was doing an automatism with his hand. He stopped, looked me into my eyes. It's blew my mind. It's like that eye contact that was so intense. Not his head, and turned to his parents and repeatedly, automatically said, yes, 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 yes. So it was like, woo, I got goosebumps. And in many situations, they wouldn't ask because they would be expecting us to read their mind because they are able to read our mind. So this is part of their language. As in my experience, I've seen it in so many situations. It's like a kid would be standing, and when we don't do what he wants, then he can show a behavior, a reaction, explode in a way or another. And then he didn't say anything, and we don't know. It's like, uh, man, he was expecting you to know the way he knows. So he sent you the message. We're
Mm.
not receptive.
Yeah.
Here the question comes, if we don't know the language, being a little bit more curious, how can I help you instead of like jumping and judging? Is there anything I can do for you? What do you mean by this? Why? Asking more questions. Being this what can lead us to really learn more, liberate ourselves from the limitation of our limited experience, and connect more and make this more harmonious. We'll be having in our experience internally, and it start manifesting externally more resonance, more coherence.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a beautiful example. I almost even felt goosebumps. Um, but yeah, it was very profound. I could actually see that, and I agree. I have talked about this with Sherry Divband, my dear friend that I was talking to you about before going live, and
Mm,
she treats kids also with yeah, that have been diagnosed with autism. And the thing is that we are evolving our capabilities of communicating ourselves, and they are showing that to us. They are showing what it is going simpler into tapping into the frequency of people and communicating through telepathy, communicating through, like it is even that systemical hand movement that he was doing. He was moving the energy, you know,
absolutely.
because I also feel that they feel so much when the energy is stocked that that's
They
why.
just want to flush whatever is there, and even in their physical contact, I had them as sometimes with few of them. They would jump and would punch me with a finger or a knuckle on one point that it moves me in a, it changes my breath, my nervous system changes completely, much more presence to their experience. It's amazing.
That's the thing, you know, it's like we started as a collective discovering a few years from now, mainly after 2012. that all the witches, were just women that were advanced,
Mm.
ahead of their times. Later on, that
But they
schizo
were a threat for a system, for a structure. Yeah.
exactly, they were labeled, and then all these schizophrenic people that are, in asylums, or in these psychiatric institutions, and plus other type of disorders. And then you say, hey, they were pioneers. They have been
Oh yeah.
pioneers of more complex forms of communication with the interdimensional reality or multidimensional reality, but yet they were encapsulated into a specific labels or forms of just tagging them all along. And
You
then
know, because they don't want to play the game that the mass is playing. Simply, it's just like okay, I don't want to put my energy, my life energy into this reality that you are creating, this suffering, this drama that you're living, this social drama that you're living. So I
yeah,
choose to focus it on something that is really aligned with my mission, why I'm here.
yeah, and they abstract themselves. Now, the opportunity that we have is for us to create that bridge for them to feel comfortable enough to open up and saying, okay, I'm willing to be part of this reality,
Yeah.
because, it's not challenging, or, trying to execute, or put in risk the life of that person, because
Mm.
how many people just stopped expressing themselves because they didn't want to be judged.
Yeah.
They didn't want to end up in a psychiatric, and so forth. And I'm so happy that all of that has shifted. Even more so, for instance, when you go to places as we have been there together, like in Egypt, and there
Mm.
is so much magic and mysticism, and people is so tapped into the field. And in the beginning, of course, they are not afraid of telling it. They even joke about it. It's like they know it. uh, and but yet then again, when you use the word magic, it's like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Well,
Call
life
it
is
your
happened through
way.
magic. If we
Yes.
look at life itself, everything is magic. Well, having these atoms creating these cells and these organs to be sitting here, isn't this magic? So anything that changes and manifests in a different way out there, why want to reject that magic, whichever way it is? Why we
Yeah.
want to categorize it?
Yeah, and that gets takes me to the importance of reading frequency instead of terminologies,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm. That's
yes,
the language of the universe. It's like,
exactly, because if you say magic to a scientist, they would say like woo. But if you say this to someone that it's religious, they would say devil. If
okay.
you would say, but again, and if you say God to an atheist, they would say, so, but the frequency that our intention carries, that is, um, remains pure, that cannot be compromised as the truth coming from source itself. So, what is a recommendation that you would give to the beautiful tribe joining us of how to keep their frequency to transmit in a pure state as much as their receptivity in a pure state?
Mm. Uh, One very important thing, and out of my experience that I learned, and I learned it when we were in Mexico. It's
Mm.
like that's where I really embraced my shadow. I anchored. I accepted everything in my universe. It starts with acceptance.
Hmm.
Accepting everything that is out there is part of my experience. So nothing would be triggering me. And if anything that's still triggering me, that means I still attach to a certain pattern, a certain interpretation, certain set of information that is manifesting this experience and is still feeding on my energy, on my life. So staying present at this moment would pull our energy out of this pattern and it collapses. If it's not on the spot, it might take few cycles, but it would be spiraling and loosening up and then it disappears. So it's like about seeing whatever is still holding us from expressing the best within ourselves, from our deepest frequencies to our highest frequencies. Allow ourselves to let go of these patterns, of any judgment that we still, no matter how much we work on ourselves, we can, uh, in front of a behavior of a kid, we can judge it as it's not acceptable at the beginning if we want to be politically correct. Oh, so just see what is still triggering us, and at this moment, just being, instead of trying to solve it with whatever we know horizontally, go to higher intelligence, and then see magic manifesting. Experience that union with the trigger and the between the trigger and the triggered, and
Hmm.
this is the beauty of life.
Hmm.
Because that's how it's like, this is the ultimate, is getting in a state of union, experiencing the one, experiencing the source. So this is the path, is being in a path, and it starts with acceptance, just like Dr. David Hawkins has scanned the emotions, starting with from the lowest shame, going up to union. So it's on the scale, we're navigating this scale up and down, and there is nothing wrong with any of them because they are needed in certain experiences to teach us something, to teach us that we are still feeding with our energy certain patterns that are manifesting in our reality, something that we are not accepting. So instead of fixing it out there, it's just pulling our energy from it here and fixing it inside. Everything is inside. And here with magic manifest a new reality.
Hmm. That's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you. And I couldn't agree more in a sense that I was talking to Ines
Oh, yeah.
Urdaneta the other day.
Amazing.
By the way, Ines, if you're watching this, I love you. And then, so she was saying about how, according to even quantum physics,
Mm,
everything is a relationship. So, when everything that you perceive is the feedback of yourself.
yes.
It's not telling you information about John Doe. It's
No.
telling you who you are and the information that is within you. In
Yeah.
Mexico, we have a saying that is, um, lo que dices dice más de ti que de Juan. You know, you're
Yes. Yes.
about says more about you.
About
You're
myself, not from about the other, about one who that I might be
exactly.
better. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so true because, again, if we see, imagine yourself in a white room and you're at the center, and then you're speaking to the room, you're chanting. The echo that it's going to come back at you, it's your own voice. Yes,
Yes.
your voice interacting with the wall, but
Yeah.
then again, that wall can be a mirror itself. You
Mm,
know, it has fairly of interaction, yes. So here's the deal. For me, it's a very fine line between knowing what is yours and what it's not, because also
mm.
this can be very tricky. It's like, for instance, if you're talking to someone that it's highly triggered, emotional speaking, and comes and throws you a bunch of you know what? And then you fall for it or not. That's the story where you come present, whether if you get triggered or not, as you were saying. is
Yeah.
whatever comes at you, if you're not in response, then it's like you're looking to the other side. So then you're not recognizing yourself anymore in that story.
Yeah.
So it's not that the us that that person's things and your things doesn't exist. Yes,
Mm.
we are unity, and also we are fractals, unique fractals of unity. The thing is that our response, our feedback to the information that is next to us, that's what actually it's telling us who we are. And you were mentioning it very well, which is the level of triggering or lack of triggering that is within us, because it's somehow trigger is showing to you that it's alive.
Yeah.
Not being trigger is showing you that
It's not there anymore. Yeah.
you're being that wall,
Yeah.
so that person is just echoing the words, but then you're just that wall that it's not giving any feedback to it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
except for itself, its own feedback. Yes. So, how can people reach you? Because you do give online sessions, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, therapies. So, tell us more about that, please. Because you did mention that you have a background, you have an amazing background. If you can also go a little bit into your story, perhaps we could have done this in the beginning, but you know how I like to do things different. So,
Yeah.
how do you started with this path of being so into the not well, yeah, we can call it, and to some extent, education, not only for the kids yet
Yeah.
for the parents themselves.
Yeah. It started with asking questions. And this is the beauty. It's like, okay, there is still something that is I can see differently. So my background is pediatrics. I studied in Lebanon, practiced here for 3 years before moving to Canada. And there I started, I thought I was able to deal with the stress within the medical system from within. So I studied medical management. Uh, the stress was increasing, as you know. It's like moving through the system is it increases the load and it drains more energy. So people get promoted, they will be happy. Oh no, don't be very happy. You're not be promoted to be more at ease, because we can drain more of your energy into this structure. So that's hence the promotion. And that happens is like I started working on myself, getting support. So start practicing yoga and meditation and move past on the path, experiencing things differently from within. And then I started seeing, oh, I can share this experience in bits and pieces here and there with the kids and their parents, and started seeing difference in their experience. And then after that, I started being interested with quantum physics and human evolution through Dr. Amit Goswami, through our friend Nassim Haramein, and then I met them one after the other, and that my experience started unfolding at different levels. So here I studied, and first time I met Nassim was at Quantum University annual meeting for integrative medicine. And so I studied integrative medicine and went a little bit deeper in quantum physics. So with all this experience in conventional pediatrics, medical management, yoga, meditation, quantum physics, integrative medicine at different levels, I brought it together, and it comes, as you said, not all the kids are the same. Every kid is different, so we don't have one magic pill. And to start with, when we get to this point, there is nothing wrong to fix. It's an experience that we're learning from. And that's what I tell people. You're not coming to someone to fix something wrong with you. There is nothing wrong. we are living, since you came to me, we are living an experience, and let's see how we can make it the most beautiful possible. We learn from it. So we are learning from each other. I share my information, whatever I have tools, I share it with whoever is experiencing this with me. And so until 2020, so gradually I got to be chairman of pediatric department at the hospital. Then I saw that there is no way to change from within. So it's like I left. Then I left the hospital practice and I was in a clinic, pediatric clinic. Here I was able to bring some of the holistic and integrative approach to support the kids, and I saw a huge difference. So many kids on ADHD were able to stop their medications. Even kids with asthma, uh, they got much better, and they needed less and less their treatment, less hospitalization. So it's like, and in 2020 came the point where, okay, with all what has happened that year, I got it a message. It's like, one way ticket to Lebanon. My smart mind and the ass is okay. So no, let's play around this so we can go for a few months, like 6 months to Lebanon, and then I went to Mexico and we had amazing work together there. And that the message was clear: exit the system.
Yeah.
And hence, okay, I had going back to Canada from Mexico 22 days to finalize everything, leave. I was ready to leave everything behind me, but then life is so generous in ways. Like when I show no attachment, uh, everything manifested with magic, and I moved to Lebanon. And here started, okay, I'm not going to get into the conventional system, pediatrics, the way it was happening, and people started reaching out to offer them and their relatives what I had been offering to their kids when I was in Canada. And and that's how it unfolded. So it's like the path unfolded gradually in front of me, and it's unfolding beautifully. And I'm so grateful for this wonderful experience.
Yes, and I'm witness. I'm witness because everywhere that we go to, um, the way that the presence of Rami opens his path throughout people, throughout events, he always is welcomed everywhere, everywhere. You know, including everywhere that I am at. So yes. Okay, so well, as you listen, if you want to contact Rami for a session, he does work with a lot of techniques and has a very cutting edge technology of the omnivision, which is it's a very profound one, is the one that we have been talking about, which involves high responsibility, yet is the most accurate one, as how I feel. Because it is the master key. Bottom line, it is the master key. It could be the master key, not to enter into absolute truths, okay? But it could be the master key. So yes, and again, you saw his experience with kids. His amazing in understanding, comprehending oneself through the interaction that they have with their own kids. So where can people reach out to you?
Okay, so I have my website, ramibaz.com,
Okay,
and they can, my number is there on the website, so they can reach me through WhatsApp, and we take it from there.
this one.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, just register, see what happens, how many smiles Rami brings into your face, into your beautiful face, through all the epiphanies that you will be discovering of one another together. And yes, in such a loving and caring way, and simple and humble, you know. Again, I just want to express that I have been witness of everything that Rami has just shared, like that evolutive process. And one of the beautiful things is that the his pure heart has always remained. And I think that that very much mirrors the hearts of the kids, that pure heart and immense humbleness. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We're in a few days from now, we will be in Michigan, just that disclosure in Mackinaw. Uh, I think I have said it a few times. Let's say it once more, or a few times more. Uh, I'm very excited about all the information that I will be sharing with you, everyone who is coming, and the ones that will be joining us live or online. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for uh, being present with us, for being part of this. This is immense at many levels. This is going to activate something huge in that point of the land. So looking forward to seeing you there. Also looking forward to seeing you in Chaco Canyon Sacred Tour, September for the equinox, and also later then the alien event, October, and then Egypt, November. So if you want to know more about all these events, just go to my website. Um, Finally, the landing page will be finished. Yes, in a few days from now. So I will just write it here. Stay tuned. More upcoming exciting online courses um, will be delivered. So if you want to join us and be part of those online courses, um, just uh, just feel free to join and register on my landing page. Rainbow body activation with Dr. Amir, and a memory retrieval with Sean Bond, and other few ones collaborations also with beautiful women. So stay tuned for more surprises. So thank you so much, and thank you for listening to all of this, Rami. As we
Thank you.
yeah. So I love you so much. And
Reciprocated.
yeah, thank you for accepting the invitation. Okay, so everyone, I love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your beautiful frequency comments. And well, until next time, Hunuh.
You know.
Hmm.